Cheers. Whew. Boy, that felt good last night. Holy moly. The Wild needed that game in the worst way possible after what happened Monday, just getting absolutely drummed. I mean, this was much, much needed. And it basically seemingly happened right when the Wild started shooting the puck on net. It's kind of nice when the first shot of the night ends up going in the back of the net. So, with that said, Wild win 6-2 against the St. Louis Blues in Game 2 to knot up the series at 1 game apiece going into St. Louis, which again is massive because if we went down 2-0 going into St. Louis, we could be on the verge of a sweep because St. Louis is, well, I mean, to be fair, though, we all know St. Louis is a dangerous team. I mean, they just won the Stanley Cup, like I say, in 2019, and they still have, like, 75% of the core, so. Yeah, I mean, they're no slouches, but we already knew this. So, yeah, I mean, like I say, it was nice to see. It was very nice to see this. Because, well, again, after how Monday went, I'm not going to bring that back up again. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and get into the actual what happened in the game. So, the puck was dropped, kind of back and forth, a few shots here and there, maybe not really a lot of stuff on the net here, while we're kind of feeling things out. And starting to get a little restless there, just because, well, there really weren't a lot of shots or chances on net yet for the Wild, and I'm thinking, okay, we really got to get going here, just for the sake of the players, for the sake of the fans, just to get a breather here. And boy, did we deliver. On the first shot of the game for the Wild, at the 9:33 mark in the first period, Joel Eriksson Ek breaks the ice. And at that point, I think all the Wild fans, all the players, all the coaches were just like, finally, we can breathe. The ice was broken, the bubble was popped, the balloon was popped, whatever you want to say there. The monkey off the back, there's only about 30 different analogies you could use for this situation here. But Eriksson Ek, with an absolute snipe into the back of the net on Ville Husso, makes it 1-0. And then we go to the power play a couple minutes later, and at 13:04, just a sweet, sweet feed to Freddie Gaudreau, who buries it in the back of the net to make it 2-0. And then, about another 4 or 5 minutes pass, not a lot happens here and there, a couple penalties here, a couple penalties there, a couple plays here, a couple plays there. And then, at the 19:06 mark in the first period, Kirill the Thrill gets a power play goal, which looked like it could have been Fiala's, but as of now, it's Kirill Kaprizov from Ek and Zuccarello. The reason why I say that's because it kind of reminds me of Monday night with Perron having a goal, and they weren't sure if it was a power play goal or a normal goal. They literally switched it 3 times. So it's kind of one of those interesting things about that. So yeah, 3-0 after 1. We're feeling good. We're like, finally, we can just go out there and play our game. 51 seconds into the second period, Joel Eriksson Ek with just an absolute beauty of a goal. I mean, he had a little finesse in there. I mean, I'll tell you what, Joel Eriksson Ek has really improved his game over the last couple seasons. And that's why I was glad to see him get signed to that 8-year deal before this past summer. Because between him, Foligno, and Greenway, the Grief line, I mean, they're literally that line's basically what makes the Wild tick, It goes through them, Because they're out there, they're just hog mollies going out there and, taking it to you, but have enough offensive power that you have to fear them too, because at any point, they have enough wherewithal to pop one in the back of the net as well. They're not just a big brute force, which then sets up our other lines beautifully. Just absolutely beautifully. But then as the second period went on, it kind of... it got a little spicy there for a few minutes, not gonna lie. Because at the 12:34 mark, St. Louis, on one of their 3 or 4 power plays of the night, Jordan Kyrou goes behind the net, sneaks one through, and just pops one right behind Fleury to make it 4-1. And then that would be it for the rest of the period for scoring. But like I say, there was just a lot of back and forth, some very questionable calls here and there, but, such is life. And then, going into the third period, Vlad Tarasenko makes it a 4-2 game at the 4:14 mark. And at this point, I'm starting to get a little nervous. Why? Because, Minnesota sports fans, it's just like, where have we seen this one before? It's I'm just thankful that that was pretty much the only damage, the rest of the damage done by St. Louis there, because if St. Louis could have popped one more in the back of the net at that point with, just a few minutes left, going into the end of the third there, we could have been talking about a completely different outcome. So while there's a little bit of restlessness and a little bit of nervousness, Kirill Kaprizov at the 11:47 mark pops another one into the back of the net. And at that point, we're like, okay, this one is pretty much about over. However, though, what was really interesting is, again, I kind of love to make mention of this, but Joel Eriksson Ek was hit on a breakaway and just flew into the zone and pops one in the back of the net for what we all thought was a Joel Eriksson Ek hat trick. So, the goal horn's going off, everyone's going nuts, hats are hitting the ice and stuff like that. And then about 30 seconds later, St. Louis challenges. And rightfully so, because Moose was like a mile offside. So you would have thought, oh no, woe was me, what's going on here? But literally, a minute and 5 seconds later, or 65 seconds later, Kirill Kaprizov on the empty net on a 4-on-4 pops one into the back for a hat trick. Thankfully, there's still some hats in the stands there, but literally not even a minute after, or a little over a minute after, we all thought Eriksson Ek had a hat trick. Kirill Kaprizov actually finishes a hat trick. So it's kind of like the who's on first, if you know the Abbott and Costello stand-up routine. Very funny watch, by the way, but yeah, so again, at the end of the day, the Wild win 6-2 to knot the series at 1 game apiece. So basically what that means is tomorrow night actually begins the series. Because I honestly don't, this is weird for a, Minnesota St. Louis type game. Typically it's a close, game grinded out. Literally, with the exception of the Winter Classic, the 2 games in St. Louis literally came down to overtime. So that's a little bit more what I expect moving forward here, And again, going into St. Louis, it'll be interesting to see how Spurgeon is welcome. Yeah, by the way, I forgot to mention on Monday for the recap, Spurgeon did something completely effing stupid on Monday that I don't condone. Basically, he slashed Buchnevich right behind the ACLs while on the ice. How he wasn't suspended, I don't even know. And this is coming from a Wild fan, so. But, yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because tomorrow night, Game 3 in St. Louis, let's get her done, boys. Because if we can steal one in St. Louis, or who knows, maybe even get both of them, come back to Minnesota to potentially round out the series. Or at the very least, push it to Game 7. Which a lot of people, myself included, think that this could go the distance. So, oh yeah. Playoff hockey. Nothing like it. So yeah, until we meet again, this is Jacob. Have a good day.